Hello students, hope you all are doing good, fit and fine in this present COVID timings. This video deals with the plant tissues. There are two types of tissues, the meristematic tissues and permanent tissues. Basically, tissue is a group of cells which have similar origin, structure and function, like the parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, etc. This is the schematic representation of plant tissues. They are divided into two types, the meristematic tissues and the permanent tissues. The meristematic tissue is the tissue which is made up of cells capable of rapid division, like apical, lateral and intercalary, though they have been classified depending upon the different aspects. We will talk it about later on. And the permanent tissues, this is those particular tissues which are composed of mature or differentiated cells, and they are incapable of cell division. Although in certain cases the differentiated cells attain the quality to become meristematic, like the cambium during the secondary growth. Now this permanent tissues, they are divided into simple tissue and complex tissue, and as the name is implying, the simple tissue, it is composed of single type of cells like parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. While in case of the complex tissue, they are tissues which contain more than one type of cell, like phloem and xylem. This is the another type of presentation of plant tissues. So now we need to understand what is a meristematic tissue. So first of all, its location. It's meristematic tissues, they are found all in growing regions, like in the root tip or in the stem tip, and the tissue, because of these cells, these tissue divide continuously. So like in the picture, it is showing the apical meristem, lateral meristem and intercalary meristem. This is the type of meristem depending upon the positioning of the meristematic tissue. Now this type of meristem, it shows the type of meristem depending upon the function they perform. Like depending upon the function, there is three type of primary meristem: protoderm, which is in the last develops into the epidermal tissue; the ground meristem, responsible for the making the ground tissue of the plant, like cortex, etc., and the procambium, which is responsible for making the vascular tissues. This is a classification of meristem based upon origin, position and plane of division. So depending upon the origin, there are of three type of meristems: promeristem, primary and secondary meristem. Now primary meristem constitute the ram and sam, root apical meristem and shoot apical meristem in abbreviated form, and secondary meristem, which includes the cambium ring of the plant, of the stem and root. And depending upon the position, it is apical, intercalary and lateral meristem. Now this is the third type of the parameter of classification, which is plane of division. So depending upon this type of division, there is mass meristem, in which the cell divide in each and every possible plane, preferably more than two, and generally in the three planes. So result of this particular meristem, it is increase in mass. So plate meristem, where the cells divide into two planes, and rib meristem, where meristematic cells divide only in one plane. Now this is the meristematic tissue depending upon the position, the apical meristem, intercalary and lateral meristem. Apical meristem, as I told you earlier, that is, it is responsible for growth of root and shoot, making the ram and stem, and responsible for the lengthening of the root and stem. While intercalary, this is also responsible for lengthening of the stem, but it is generally present on the leaf base and node. So this kind of meristem is responsible for lengthening in monocots and grasses, etc. And the lateral meristem, now this type of meristem is responsible for the increase in the girth, increase in the diameter of stem and root. Hence this lateral meristem is responsible for the secondary growth. Now these are the pictures of the same, where you can see the shoot apical meristem and root apical meristem, and here it is the intercalary meristem in the leaf bases and in the nodes, and this is the lateral meristem, which is responsible for the increase in the diameter of the stem and root. So wherever secondary growth takes place, it is because of the lateral meristem. This is a morphological presentation of the apical meristem, how this tissue is being present in the apices. This is SAM and this is RAM. We will talk it about in our later videos. This is the lateral meristematic tissue, where this is the fascicular and interfascicular cambium making the vascular cambium. This is the example of the lateral meristematic tissue. Here I want to also want to tell you one thing, that the extrastellar vascular cambium is also the type of lateral meristematic tissue. This is the intercalary meristematic tissue. Now, when the meristematic tissue form the permanent tissue, these particular cells, they don't divide and they becomes differentiated. So it is simple and complex type. In simple, there is parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchymatous cells are living cells, thin walled cells, and in ample intercellular spaces are found. Example of parenchyma are erenchyma, where it is responsible for the buoyancy and the gaseous exchange, especially in the aquatic plant. It is also present in some of the xerophytic plants which are present in the marshy land, to make them adapt in the prevailing harsh climatic conditions. This is chlorenchyma, where parenchymatous cells develop chlorophyll in the cells. This is collenchyma, responsible for the flexibility and the tensile strength of the cell. Now, wherever in heavy wind, when plant twigs and plant branches, they bend over and don't crack down, so that particular strength is given by the collenchyma. This is sclerenchyma, which is the dead tissue, no intercellular spaces, and they are dead because of the lignin deposition. This is a complex permanent tissue, the xylem and phloem. Xylem, as you know, that they are consist of 4 components: tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and phloem and xylem fiber, and they are responsible for the transportation of water. While in case of phloem, they are responsible for the transportation of food from leaves to all parts of the plant. This is your exercise, like what are the tissues, differentiate between meristematic and the permanent tissues, components of xylem and phloem, and the brief description of the following, and the type of parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Thank you.